PLD Projects presents Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast featuring PLD and Matty Gunner. May the Force be with you, always. Hello there. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of Holy Snokes on a special day. This was a day of not going to be Holy Snokes on Tuesday. Usually we go on Wednesdays, right? But we had to change schedules. But change schedules due to things. We'll let Maddie talk about that in a few moments. I actually had planned to record today and show it tomorrow because I had planned to do the one-offs episode with Mark Ellis to have that debut today. But after a certain something happened, I decided maybe this is important to get out now. And get out today and rather than wait the day. So I just flip-flopped. They said we're going to record on Tuesday. We'll put it out on Tuesday. And then tomorrow you will get the one-offs with Mark Ellis talking about the mighty Van Halen. This is Holy Snokes. This is my Star Wars podcast on PLD Projects. I am PLD. And with me as always, Matty Gunner, my friend. What's going on, my friend?
What's up, buddy? Yeah, you're right. Schedules conflicted. I was due to be shooting a music video today. But some things happened at the venue, some events. Well, the venue that we were due to shoot the video at is holding an event. So they said, hey, can you push it back to tomorrow? We said, not really, but okay, we'll try and make it work. So my last few days have been calling around the director, the camera people, the band, because I am the front man, I am the leader of, my name's on the tin, essentially. It's been a stressful few days, and trying to get everything in order for that, and then waking up to some bullshit this morning.
I got the text this morning. I got the DM last night about you, and he was like, "Okay, can we possibly switch days?" Or I'm kind of like, "Okay, yeah, I'll make it work. I'll make it work."
Thank you for that. It was. Yeah, a lot of because obviously we're not signed to a label. We're not, we don't have this is all coming out of like every bit of recording artwork comes out of my and our wallets.
Right.
So, and as you can imagine, shooting a music video in a theater costs a pretty fucking penny.
I don't doubt it, my friend. But anyway, we were supposed to have, this is our big Ewoks, the battle for Endor. That was going to be our big topic of conversation, and it still is. We definitely watched this week, and it's definitely one of my favorite Star Wars memories as a kid. I'll go into that as well. Usually we talk about the news first, and we had a bunch of news that I was going to talk about here and there, and then we kind of got the nuke, something that we had to. I felt so strongly that I kind of had to put it out there. I even contacted the thumbnail guy and said, we want to at least put this one on the thumbnail because it makes sense to at least have this conversation somewhere, that this conversation is going to happen in here. The Acolyte, obviously, probably the most divisive show in a while for Star Wars, I think.
Since and that's the one that came before it, and the one that came before that, and the one that came before that.
I think this one has been extra specially divisive. This has been the Last Jedi divisive in a way. I feel like it was that strongly divisive. Well, we had finally gotten news. We obviously the season ended last month, I think. And we kind of had these, was it going to be renewed? Was it not going to be renewed? And we got the word last night from several different trades. It is official, though Lucasfilm has not commented on it. And I don't think they will, probably in either way, shape, or form. It is official that it is not coming back for season 2, no matter what verbiage you use. And I say that because there's a lot of, I have to say, there is a big emotional reaction throughout the entire fandom on every side. And it's understandably emotional. I get people are very invested in it and everything. There's a lot of stuff going around, and like where there's a lot of, I want to say nitpicking, but nitpicking over, well, was it canceled or was it just not renewed? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It's not coming back. That's the end of the day. That's the end of the story. Somebody's like, oh, it wasn't canceled because it never got greenlit for a season 2. Okay. Well, either way you want to say it. You want to use canceled. I get that. And we'll get into a little bit more of that. The big important part of the news is it's not coming back. And Matt and I both have a lot to say about it, but we're going to try to make it succinct, and we're going to try to make it so we still can have fun at the end of the episode. So I think we have a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah, me and Paul agreed at the start of the show that where you'll normally see Paul and I go, not tit for tat, but like bouncing off of each other with these things. Paul very rightly said, I'm going to say, well, I said you say your piece first. We're going to say our pieces, and we're going to put this down, and we're going to walk away from it.
Right. And we do have other news to talk about too. Some interesting, fun, more fun like news possibly, but we got to get this out of the way right away and get our thoughts down on it. And Maddie did say he wanted me to go first, and that's fine. I have a lot to talk about, so Maddie might sit there for a couple minutes.
Fine with me.
I want to start this whole thing out. And some people might not like this, and it's not people. You know me. If you watch me for enough time, and Maddie knows me, I am definitively not a grifter. I'm not a right side person. I'm definitely more of a positive Star Wars fan. I've seen some stuff on both sides, which I'm not thrilled with. Less thrilled with the red eyes that we talk about, absolutely. But I feel like I have to start off this entire thing with some trying to stay rational. I'm trying to draw on my inner Jedi and not let my emotions get the best of me, and not let, I want to control my emotions and not let them control me, just like we've always been taught in Star Wars lore, right? That's the Jedi way. So I presented this for me, sitting down from a rational side of things, and some people can't do that yet. Understandable. I get it. I'm hoping they will eventually come to some rationalizations, maybe. And it's possible they might not, because quite frankly, when I was 9 years old in 1985, there's a show called V, which I do a show about with Lego on this very channel, review. It had a extremely successful miniseries, extremely successful follow-up miniseries, and had a weekly series that, in hindsight, the quality went to shit. It was very expensive. It was way too expensive for network TV, and the quality wasn't there. It went down, and it ended on a huge cliffhanger. Literally, the villain was caught, but they left a bomb on the spaceship one of our heroes were in, and it was going off to parts unknown. And that's where it ended, and we never got any resolution, and that affected me for 30 years. What's my end of my story? What's the end of that story? And so I get the hand wringing on that. I really do. But I try to look at things a little more rash as I can. It's not to deny anything else, but the cold hard reality of this fact. The Acolyte had a budget of $180 million. I think right from the get, even we were kind of like, wow. And you think about that, that's more than any other show on Disney Plus, on at least the Star Wars side. I think I never looked into anything else. The Mandalorian was the next highest, and that was $120 million. Significant difference. And that's a show that has had the draw of being the first Star Wars live action TV show, the first Disney Plus show. That was the crown jewel of Disney Plus when it first started. It had a lot going for it, but then you have Obi-Wan, 80 million, Andor, 100 million or so, and I forget, was it Boba Fett, another 100 million, maybe somewhere around there. So I don't know where we get a $180 million show. Now, I know people don't like to talk budget. I get it, but there is a business side of things when it comes down to ratings, and the ratings for the Acolyte were just not there. And that's not like blaming anybody. It's just the fact that the Acolyte dropped. The hard numbers came out yesterday or the day. I'm not surprised that this is coming out, because the hard numbers came out, which probably prompted Deadline, always people to try to talk to Lucasfilm and say, well, here's the numbers. What are we doing? When Lucasfilm was probably just happy to let it go away. The Acolyte had the lowest rated finale in Star Wars TV history, even it's a short history. But not only that, but it dropped out of the Nielsen top 10. I believe I'm going off the top of my head. I read the article, but it was like for 4 or 5 weeks in a row. It came back in the top 10 for the finale, but it still was like easily the lowest rated finale we had seen in Star Wars TV. So when you have that combination of the low ratings dropping out of the top 10, etc., with $180 million budget, it's going to give. something's going to give. That's why for the longest time, for the last couple of weeks, we've been on air. Maddie's been very like kind of confident about getting season 2, and I was very not confident about getting season 2. And I was like, I don't know. I would love it. I would love it. I hope we get a season 2. I still hoped we get a season 2. Even until yesterday, I was like, okay, here we go. We got this going on. I'm even looking into things too far myself. Disney's calling it season 1, and since it was there saying calling season 1. And according to some sources, I'll throw it out there. This is speculation. I believe John Roca said this on his thing, so I'm not sure of his sources. He does have some sources that work. There was as late as last month, they were possibly trying to still talk directors of a season 2, probably still trying to maybe soft do. I think the commitment was there to want to do a season 2. I think everybody wanted to do a season 2. I think when the numbers came out, it was kind of like that last whatever, the nail in the coffin, as the parlance goes. However, there's also a couple of things we need to discuss about this. One thing specifically that I have not seen from anywhere, and it's kind of that seeing the forest for the trees kind of thing. A couple of years ago, or a year or two ago, we had this big mission statement from Bob Iger saying we are going to pull back on TV and go back to movies. We are going to pull back on TV. And that means exactly that. Now, we don't see that right away because a lot of these programs were already greenlit. They were already in production. They were already starting. And Bob Iger wasn't going to just sink the cost. He's going to let that finish. But he was more talking about their mission statement going forward. With that mission statement going forward, you got Andor cutting down from 5 seasons to 2 seasons. And then all of a sudden we have Mandalorian going to a movie, becoming a movie potentially to make that big event movie. This is almost always going to be the case because Acolyte had always been kind of a gamble. But it is a gamble. It's like outside the Star Wars Skywalker saga. It's in a new place, a lot of different things. So this is the kind of show that's going to get curtailed until they can get their feet back under them again. We're finally seeing the results of that mission statement from a while ago. And I think we're seeing it even further when you talk about D23 and maybe other things, because quite frankly, as I said the other week, we know we have Skeleton Crew. We know we have Endor, the final season of Endor. We know Ahsoka 2 was greenlit, and that's partially because it's related to the Mandoverse stuff they're doing. That's it. We don't know anything past Skeleton Crew or an Endor and Ahsoka 2 as far as being even in the works at Disney+. We don't even know about an animated series yet. Nothing's been announced. We think that we're probably confident that that's going to happen still. That's the one I'm still pretty confident because it's fairly cheap in comparison to some of this other stuff. Maybe not. Maybe it's not safe. That's the sad part for me. Maybe it's not safe. I don't know. However, with all that said and done, I want to attack the journalistic approach to this, and it's something we talk about all the time. The clickbaity stuff, it's the headline stuff, it's the bullshit stuff like that. Jennifer Landa talked about it in a tweet, Molly Damon retweeted, and I 100% agree. The fact is, and I blame the journalist side more than Lucasfilm for this. We never got the narrative that Obi-Wan Kenobi was canceled. We never got the narrative that Book of Boba Fett was canceled. We never got those. It just kind of floated away, and we never really heard from it again by the occasion, except the occasional Ewan McGregor saying, hey, write in. Maybe they'll do it if you push them. It was just never talked about as in like, okay, we're just kidding. I believe that the Acolyte would have received the same from Lucasfilm. It would have been one of those things where we would never have known. Well, we know by not knowing, but nothing official. But because there was a loud minority of loud vocal side of things, or renew the Acolyte, yada, 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 yada. I think journalists are going to, they're seeking it out. And Lucasfilm had to say something in their mind. So their sources said, yeah, I don't think we're moving forward with it because it's not in the plans. But also that becomes the headline of Acolyte canceled. And that comes out the wrong way. It comes out as a attack. It comes out, we already know something I'm going to talk about soon. Like it sends a certain message to people that it was canceled because of what you did, because of your reaction. It was canceled. When in reality, it most likely was supposed to be just like Boba Fett, just like Obi-Wan, with a lot more money being, unfortunately, had been sunk into it. Also, now let's talk about those other people. the grifters who are celebrating. I will say this: fuck off. I mean, that's pretty much clear as day as far as I'm concerned. Fuck off. I don't know why you celebrate the cancellation of anything, even if you don't like it. Even if you don't like something. If I watch a show, I don't like the show, I just turn it off. And somebody says canceled, I go, it doesn't bother me. I didn't watch it. Didn't really care for it. I can't remember any time in my life any sane person was like, yeah, it got canceled. Awesome. But these group of people do that because they feel like they won the day. They're putting out they won. They're the champions. They're all this stuff. Quite honestly, they probably had, I think they had very, very, very little to do with it. Very little to do with it. Did they have any input? Maybe. I'm not going to lie that obviously the divisiveness was out there. Obviously, review bombing at 18%. I can't believe Disney's not noticing any of that. So it's out there. But I think that's kind of like more of like the frosting on the cake. When it goes back down to returning back to point one, the cake being $180 million, not ratings. If there was enough people watching, then we would have gotten season 2, no matter what the grifters were complaining about. And that's something that I have a hard time with. So don't celebrate. Don't celebrate. A, because you're an asshole if you do it, because some people are invested in the show and like the show and do enjoy it. And you're also celebrating the fact that families and workers are out of jobs now. You're celebrating that. That's what you're doing. You're celebrating people being out of work. Great. Awesome. That's awesome personality right there. Don't do because some people are invested. And you may say that some people are too invested. And hell, I think some people might be too invested in it. If this is like, if the cancellation is like hurting your soul to the point where you can't go on, maybe you should take a step back too at this point. This is a world. I am deeply invested in this universe, but there's a limit of it, like mental health wise. Let's just take a step back and understand things a little bit better. However, the grifters celebrating, it's wrong at every level. But also by engaging with that, you're giving them more of what they want. Just don't even engage with them. Don't even engage with them if they're in that kind of bad faith. And there's also, and I'm sorry if there's a lot of emotions. I had a little time to prepare this, but I'm still going in all these different directions. So I'm sorry if I'm going on tangents left and right.
Speak from your heart. Speak from what you feel.
And I'm trying to. I'm just trying to make sure I hit all the points I wanted to hit. I will also say, as far as that goes, like it just seems like people, the grifters who are celebrating, that's one thing. Don't engage with them. But there's also a side of Star Wars fandom that are turning against its own now. Like, I don't know why you would turn against The Mandalorian or turn against Andor or turn against anything else. Oh, my show got canceled, but this show didn't get canceled. Fuck Ahsoka. Fuck The Mandalorian. Fuck Dave Filoni. That's not helping your cause either. Dave Filoni, I can guarantee you, without even knowing the guy, I'm not in the room. Granted, I'm not in the room. Dave Filoni helped Leslie Headland out. Dave Filoni wanted this to succeed. He's not doing this to spite you. He's not saying, "Oh, I don't like that POC or that woke stuff. No, it's not that what he's doing at all. He has to come at it from a business side of things, and it sucks. Now, I do think there could have been a way. I think there could have been a happy medium, and maybe someday we'll get something like this. Like they could have got a final season 2, kind of like Andor did, slash the budget in thirds, give it like a $60 to $7 million budget, and let them work on that, and it could be done. It could be done. Who knows? Maybe instead it'll be repackaged. We could see a new show appear in a couple of years. That's The Stranger in Plagueis. That continues on these storylines. Star Wars shows, especially in the Filoni era, and Filoni is chief creative content, is a guy who takes these stories from different shows and moves them into other shows that are happening. Clone Wars went into Rebels pretty succinctly. It just makes sense that could happen here too. I'm not saying you're going to get a new show anytime soon. Hell, it might take a little while. Maybe we'll get some. Maybe Mandalorian Grogu becomes a huge success. Everybody starts popping out to Disney. Then we can kind of revisit some of these things. I mean, hell, people didn't like the prequels. Half people didn't like the prequels when it first came out, and now we're doing all sorts of stories that involve the prequels. It comes around. We got to be patient about it. So don't turn on the. even though I know as a white man in my 40s, my almost 50, I know that I can't possibly completely understand the idea that you were seen in this show or you saw yourself in this show with your representation and now it's taken away from you. I empathize with you. I can't possibly fully understand it. I do feel sorry about that. I really do. It sucks that this is your Star Wars and it got taken away from you. I just think there's a lot more going on than any one thing, and it seems like everybody on every side seems to be like taking one side to it. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer was. I do feel like Lucasfilm almost should put out some kind of comment about it or something now, but it might make it worse. So maybe it is just time to let it go and worry about the future when it happens. All I know is that I am excited about Skeleton Crew still. And I know there's people out there saying, well, why be excited about it? They're just going to cancel again. That's not necessarily true. This doesn't always happen. We have Ahsoka season 2. We have Andor season 2. We have Mandalorian season 1, 2, and 3. I still love the universe. I love the publishing side of things. We still have the books coming out. They're still not completely abandoning the era yet at this point. I have one more thing I wanted to say, and I'm keep losing track on something about this, but at the end of the day, I guess that's if I can think about the other thing I was going to say, I'll bring it up when I get to it. But Maddie, I'll turn it over to you. What are your thoughts on it now, and go from there.
Tag me in.
There you go.
I agree with 98% of everything you've just said.
Okay.
I think well done to you for putting that as, I know you've had all day to think about this and you wanted to put this as succinctly as you possibly can. Here's where I'm coming at from this.
Mm-hmm.
The audacity and the arrogance of these grifters to believe that they had any part whatsoever to play in this happening. Like they're taking the credit for this essentially. And when you go on Amanda Stenberg's Instagram right now, which I did, there is constant homophobic and racist attacks all in her comment section. That's not okay.
No.
That doesn't come from Lucasfilm shareholders. That comes from YouTube personalities who throw around these terms like woke and all this grifter shit. I'm so burnt out by this that it's got me to a point where something that I've loved since I was a child, I'm not sure that I even want to be involved with it anymore. I feel like I'm almost, it's weird. I almost feel like I'm back in high school and I'm being told that the music that I listen to is for fucking emo, F-word slur, posers. And I was just like, well, shit, I'm just trying to fucking enjoy what I love here. Someone said the most succinct shit to me the other day. They were like, Star Wars is like Domino's pizza, right? It's actually pretty good when you don't have someone standing over your shoulder telling you how shit it is. Like, you can actually enjoy it if someone's not standing over your shoulder saying, if you're eating fucking Domino's, what's wrong with you? Like, that stuff tastes like garbage. Actually, not that bad. The same people who are celebrating this are the same people that a few months back were telling you, we support the actors' strike. We support the writers' strike. Good fucking job. Because if you really are as responsible for this as you claim to be, congratulations. You have now just put a bunch of actors and a whole writing squad, a whole writing team out of work. Well done. Congratulations. If this really is as much of your doing as you say it is, people like Star Wars Theory, good job. I hope you enjoy the next 6 movies where we roll Mark Hamill out until he's 90 to play Luke Skywalker over and over again, because that is clearly what you want. You clearly just want to see Order 66 from 100 different, viewpoints. What this has done, and I know it's a business decision. I know this is the Lucasfilm, the Disney board and the shareholders looking at this saying, the numbers didn't add up to the budget, which that's a business decision. If in fact, I want to understand it, but I don't like it. I don't like that this has all come down to numbers and money. And I've said this so many times that companies like Disney and Warner Brothers, I mean, look at the Acme film that's just got, and Batgirl that's just got shelved without being, anyone getting to see it at all. We're going to get to that stage where people are so afraid that something's, all the talk about skeleton crew not testing well. When's the day going to come where something doesn't test well at Lucasfilm and they decide to go, maybe we shouldn't put this out? We're getting to that point because of these shareholders, and I'm not going to give these grifters the credit they think they deserve for getting this show. I'm not going to say cancelled, because cancelled denotes that there was something wrong with the show. I thoroughly enjoyed this show, and I'm sick of everyone that's saying, if you like this show, great for you, you patronizing fucks. You don't believe that. You're just being facetious. The lot of you. And it's really pathetic that some people make their entire personalities and their entire livelihoods about shitting on something. It really is pathetic. And I know you and I and a lot of our friends do our best to keep positive about these things. But I just feel like, and it's ultimately down, like you said, it's down to the numbers and the cold hard facts. And I'm just like, when did we allow art, and maybe I'm coming at this from an artistic and a creator's kind of perspective. When did we allow money and shareholders and all this stuff to dictate the art that comes out? Because what this is now saying is, Star Wars, don't bother taking any swings. Don't bother trying anything new. Just stick to what's safe. Let's roll. I was talking to my friend Colin about Deadpool and Wolverine, and he said that in terms of like popcorn, Marvel, fun, humor, it's one of the best things we've ever seen. But it's the ultimate death of art. And I thought, holy shit, that's more fucking profound than I thought, because it's ultimately just drawing in cameos, relying on connectivity, pulling everything together. And I was just like, there's nothing new to that. There's nothing fresh or like no new ideas in that. And yeah, it's a great story. It's a great movie. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I didn't love Deadpool and Wolverine. I did fucking love it. It's one of my favorite movies this year. But we talk about budget and figures and everything. Let me bring you to a movie that you and our friend PJ Campbell are talking about right now. John Wick. Cult classic. That movie didn't make shit when it came out. It's now one of the biggest action franchises in the world, like of all time, bringing in box office numbers that I haven't seen in a long ass time. So for Disney and Lucasfilm to essentially go, you had your shot, kid. You didn't quite cut it this time. Don't worry about it. You're not going to get another shot. It's sad, because everyone who said that this was going to be shit, like, they got what they wanted. You got the EU law. You got the connections to the prequels. You got cool lightsaber choreography that hasn't happened since the prequels. You got Leslie Helen did her best to tell her story. She, like Kathleen Kennedy even came out and said it. She wrote a great Star Wars show. Now go write a great Leslie Helen show. And I feel like Leslie Helen did a really good job of balancing the two. She told the story that she wanted to tell. So much so that she's one of us. She's a diehard fan like us. She had no business putting Ki-Adi-Mundi in that episode. She had no business putting Yoda in that episode. Why did she do it? Because she's one of us. Because she's a fan like us. So for people to come and attack her and attack the cast for ultimately a decision that wasn't theirs, I'm just like, where do you people get off on this? Like, what gives you the fucking right to think that you have any say in how this goes, in how if a show gets developed. And this says to everyone that's even reporting on it, we're not in Lucasfilm. When you said it perfectly. We're not in the room. So why the fuck are we even commenting on it? We weren't in the room when Filoni or Kathleen Kennedy or whoever made the decision to be like, I don't think we're going to go any further with The Acolyte. And that's fine. We were never promised season 2 of The Acolyte. Leslie Headland herself said, the reason that I'm not ending this on a cliffhanger is because this is a one-shot story. That's fine. If they do decide to spin it off into something else, great. But I think the creators of this show should get the opportunity to finish that story. I don't think it's fair to lambast and just hang these people out to dry that work so hard on this show. Manny Jacinto worked his ass off to try and get a season 2 out of this. He's out there meeting all the fans, and everyone's saying, "Oh, I miss when George ran it. George sold it to get away from you, fucking crybabies."
Yeah.
You bitched and moaned about the 3 movies that he made, his prequel movies. You bitched and moaned about them. So he said, you know what? Fuck you. I'm selling it on. And now they have the audacity to say, I missed it when George ran it. No, you fucking didn't. You just pissed that Disney are running it now. George sold it to get away from you people. And now he's probably living the best fucking life that he could possibly live. And guess what, guys? He's still going to the set. He's giving the approval to all this shit. He still has a say. So everyone is like, I miss it when George ran it. He's still there. He's still approving this stuff. What, you think Dave Filoni doesn't go through George Lucas? You think Dave Filoni is so arrogant that he thinks he's the be-all end-all at Lucasfilm? Fuck no, he doesn't. I guarantee you he still calls up George and says, hey, I'm working with this story, but I don't know quite how to tail end this, and this. What do you think? Like, of course he still calls George Lucas up. My thing is mostly about the grifters and the people on the side of the reason they canceled it is because they caved into the grifters. No, they didn't. This is the same problem we have with every show and every movie that gets canned. Is it comes down to the figures and the numbers, and if the shareholders don't like it, they say, get rid of it. And that's where I'm like, what's the fucking point? What is the fucking point to any of this shit? Because we're going to get to a point where something gets made and the shareholders don't like it and they say, don't put it out.
Possibly.
Dude, it's going to happen. And I'm wearing it on my shirt. I'm a Kojima fan. I'm used to like stuff being made cynically. I'm used to like a creator being like, oh, fuck, I got to tie up all these loose ends because of these fucking annoying shareholders that say they want another game pumped out. They want this story. They want all the answers to this story. I get it. If we don't get another show that curtails into whatever the Acolyte tried setting up, fine. Okay. But don't have it be because of a bunch of people in suits. Not even suits, probably sitting in their fucking underwear in their parents' basement or that own a few shares of Disney, saying, nah, we're not making money off of this. Gotta get rid of it. Like, let the creators finish their stories. Let the people who worked on these stories finish the stories. And for the love of fuck, leave off with the grifting bullshit. It's getting tiresome and you're just pathetic. You really are just fucking pathetic.
Agreed. I agree with that completely. Have you had your say? Are you?
Yeah, because I think no matter what I say, it's just gonna
just kind of cycling now.
I'm just cycling and it's just falling on deaf ears. And
I will throw out just a quick rebuttal to. I agreed with again with most of the things you said. I think you might overestimate George's interactions as much. I think George is actually just happy to be like living his life in the museum nowadays. I think he does fit the set and like enjoy some of it. I don't think he proves everything necessarily, but like, and I do think he probably has conversations, but I don't want to overstate that Lucas is like actually there and doing stuff with it. He's just
he's not in the writers room.
I don't think he cares as much. I mean, he cares, but it's like kind of like this is what you're doing. Oh, I have my opinion, and he goes off and goes on holiday and goes to his museum and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. But like to say, I mean, the Disney have complete control, like, and to say that Dave Filoni isn't going through George on something.
I guess it's more that George has influence without being control, because it definitely doesn't have control. I think he has influence. Definitive. That's a better way to put it. I think, just to make sure it's out there the right way. And I will say, I definitely agree with this first part of things, that George sold this to get away from them. That's absolutely true. So, like, that's absolutely true. So, you made your bed, lay in it.
And I'm going to say this one more time, because I got shit from people that I love for saying this last time. You think you can write better? Mandalorian had bad writing. Boba Fett had bad writing. The Acolyte had bad writing. Get a new line, you fucking hacks, or just write something better yourself.
Yeah, that's just, I'm not saying everything. And here's something I did want to point out real quick, and then a little bit of rebuttal before we move on. Two things. One thing actually I just want to say is that I don't want to label. I think there's a lot of danger in black and white, and I feel that way about everything. And I always try to push against that. Just because you didn't like the show doesn't mean you are a grifter or an incel. No. There are people out there. If you're celebrating it, then yes, that's the big difference. If you just said, if you come up to me and said, I hated that show, I just didn't connect to it at all, whatever, I'm like, it got canceled, great. Like, not like in terms of great, but like, kind of like whatever. That doesn't bother me. And like, if you want your Star Wars a different way, that's absolutely your right to want to do so. You want something different, it's for you. I just think there's a difference between that and celebrating it and trying to actively tear it down. That's the difference. And if you're not doing that, then you're not who we are talking about. So feel free to dislike it. I know people who have disliked it, and they're kind of like, well, whatever.
We had problems with it.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I didn't love all of it. I actually, and I will say, right, frankly, I wanted a season 2 because I thought it was set up to give us a better season than the first one would have been. The first one was. I think the second season could have been better because I think the way it was set up, and I think they would have learned some things from it. And that's the thing too. I know that's a part of the conversation out there, is that shows don't get the chance to really grow and to really find their footing. There's people like, well, Clone Wars would have gotten canceled in season 1 if it didn't get a chance to grow. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But again, the problem goes back to, again, it's how much money you spending on this show. Like, and that's the cool. And I don't love shareholders, but if this show was being made for 50 to 60 million, Lucasfilm would be a lot more likely to go, we'll give it room. We can give it a second season to let it grow a little bit. Maybe we'll find its footing. If not, we'll go. But when it's that high, that's the problem. You lost, like, if this was $60 million, a $60 million budget, you wouldn't have lost so much money. Right now, with the amount that they spent, with the ratings they got, they almost like spent like 2 or 3 seasons worth of money on it, pretty much, like in a way that they've already lost now. And then you're asking them to put more money on top of that at that point. Big difference. 60 million? Sure, we can experiment a little bit. That's a third of that.
But again, that's not down to Leslie Headland or
not at all
actors or everything, which is where I'm getting at. Like the people blaming them.
Absolutely, 100%. Disney's the one who gave them the budget. Lucasfilm was the one who gave them that budget. Lucasfilm should have been like, I think you can make this for a little less. I think you can definitely make this for a little less. And again, I also agree with the angle of the argument of budget, budget, shareholder, studio, art. Those are 2 separate things, unfortunately. And I'm all for more art, but I do know there's a way you have to make things work. Like you mentioned, John Wick. John Wick didn't make a lot of money, but at the end of the day, its budget was $20 to $30 million that made 86. It still made money. If you can break even or at least make a little bit of money, I guarantee you're going to go on. So that's what you got to find your way to do, unfortunately. But you just can't. It's a problem in Hollywood in general today anyway. It's just like, and we always talk about Indiana Jones, and I loved Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny. Me and PJ will talk about it all the time. But because of COVID, because of reshoots, because of a lot of extenuating factors, for whatever reason, its budget was like $300 million. And like, that's why you're not going to get any more than that, because it's just way too much money to spend in. We're starting to see it come down a little bit now. We're starting to see a little bit more modest budget, and that's where we need to go for everything. And that would be more successful for everything, because then we also have more money to kind of spread out to different projects, and different swings can be taken. Right now, it sucks. I get it. And I feel awful for people who really love the Acolyte. I mean, people out there who absolutely love the show. Was the thing that got them into Star Wars. I wish them well, and I hope they find something for them out there, and hope something eventually comes their way. Get into the publishing side of things too. There's some great stories in there, great how to public stories as well. And we do have the Acolyte books coming out next year still, as far as I know. So keep those going. Be passionate. Be upset. Rage out if you need to a little bit. Just try to take a step back and center. Mind your emotion, mind your feelings, as they would say. So
this thing, like you when you say that if you love this show, I'm glad you did. I can tell I know you well enough to know that comes from a genuine place.
Yeah,
it's when I see people that are like, if you love this show, great. I don't know why. I'm just like, shut the fuck up. You're just trying to find a backhanded compliment way of saying, oh, this show sucked. Like, you're just trying to find a way to get into the conversation, like take power and take control of the conversation and say, oh, you liked it? Cool. I fucking hated it. Like, just shut the fuck up.
And anybody who's going on to a tweet or social media who said they like something and just to say, oh, that's fucking stupid, I hate it, you just shouldn't have your social media taken away from you.
I got a reply today from someone that said, your celebrities will be fine, don't worry. Bro, you think that the actors in The Acolyte are making a shitload of money? It's a streaming show, my guy. And this is a bigger conversation. I think we're getting to a point where we've got to bin off streaming.
Maybe. Potentially. I'm not sure, but
I think it's, or not, okay, not bin it off, adapt, come up with something new.
Yeah.
Because the way it's going is not working for anyone involved. Shareholders, actors, writers, it's not working. It was a good placeholder during the pandemic, but I think we got to move on to something new.
Yeah, possibly. Quite possibly.
Let's talk about some fun shit, dude.
Because, let's go.
Unless you had, sorry, I don't mean to cut you up. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
I did have one more small point.
Please go.
Kind of added on to the idea of people blaming Lucasfilm and stuff. I just want to put out there specifically, Lucasfilm or whoever canceling or not renewing the show does not mean they're anti-inclusivity, anti-POC, anything. I mean, you look at everything they have there. I think, again, I bet you Dave Filoni was sad he had to cancel this. I guarantee he's not celebrating. Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, if he's involved anyway, I don't know how involved he is. I feel like sometimes he's more involved than people know, maybe. Either way, I know they're not celebrating this. They're not celebrating this. They want this stuff to succeed, but they also have to couple that with they do have to have the money to give you this stuff. So you have to find the right things to mean. I mean, Rosario Dawson, Diego Luna, there's a lot of, hopefully Donald Glover's movie gets made. They're trying to do as much as they can. And recently it feels like they're reaching out and trying a lot of different things, despite people being quite, I mean, I questioned, I'll be honest with you, when I heard the new Jedi Order movie and I heard the director was Charmaine Boy, I was a little like, really? But that's a swing. That's a gamble. That's a gamble. I mean, that much she might be replaced. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? A lot of things seem to be in flux over there. But they're trying out there. I don't think they should get I don't think they should wrongfully get the blame. They couldn't just put forth another season at whatever they had, whatever reason they can't make it work. I don't think it's a celebration kind of thing. I think they feel sad just as you guys do. So lashing out's not going to help at this point. But either way, I digress. Let's move on to some more fun stuff.
Sorry, but I should have checked with you.
That's all right. All good. We're here at 45 minutes in. That's the one news bit. We still have to talk about the movie we talked about. It's reviews. So let me kind of blow through the rest of this news. Some of it fun, some of it silly. The first one I'm going to tell you is a piece of news that I usually don't report on anymore because it's kind of like, yeah, duh. But I loved how Katie answered this question. Katie Sackhoff was answered if she was in The Mandalorian and Grogu. She just flat out goes, number one, if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. And if I did tell you, they'd probably kill me. Point blank simple. None of this like, I don't know. I'm waiting for just like, I can't tell you. I know.
her and Tamora, right? I mean, Tamora came out and he said, look, Boba Fett's not in the right. The thing I like the spin that Tamora put on it, because he was like, look, you guys hated my show, so why would I be in the movie?
Yeah.
So he's does that suck? If that is true, yes, that does suck. But using that to be like, well, you guys hated my show, so why would I be in the movie?
I don't think actually he said that necessarily. Actually, if I read the article said that, but some journalists are attributing that quote to him, and that's the problem, right? That's the problem. His quote was this, and this is something that makes actually a lot of sense to me, because actually that next news bit was about Tamira's chat. I understand they're going to do a Mando with Grogu movie next, and things have changed a little too. There was going to be a Mando season 4, I think, and I was going to turn up in that, but as of now, I'm still waiting for a phone call, to be quite honest. I believe that later on in the article, Screen Rant had said, or was it? It was Screen Rant. Let me. I'm opening that article now to get the exact thing. It was later in the article. It was not a quote. It's
just Screen Rant making shit up.
I don't know if it's Screen Rant or who it was, or maybe that was the original one. Either way, I remember reading the original article. It did say reception to the Book of Boba Fett made it possible that we don't see the character for a while, or something like that. And I don't know if I don't really see any quote specifically from Tamira about reception. So I don't.
Then I'll retract that. I'll retract that. But still, like him kind of laying out breadcrumbs to be like, look away. Look away. I'm not going to be in this show because of whatever reason he gave.
Right.
I like that because I will tell you, spoiler alert for Wolverine and Deadpool in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Channing Tatum showing up as Gambit was one of the coolest fucking things that I saw in that movie. I talk about how, like, me and Colin talked about, how it's the ultimate popcorn movie, but it's the ultimate death of the art.
Right.
They're now talking to Channing Tatum about maybe reviving that film because of how well he did. And then there was the picture that he posted about him dressed as Gambit as a little kid, and he grew up in New Orleans. Yeah. And I was like, that's sick. So if Boba Fett somehow shows up in The Mandalorian and Grogu, I want it to be a surprise.
Yeah. I will say this too, and here's the thing about it. I think this, unfortunately, for some people who want to see Boba Fett, is a logical thing. I believe, Tamir, that when Mandalorian was obviously a season 4 was the first pitch. It was supposed to be season 3, season 4. He definitely was probably going to show up in season 4. That was the idea. But when the idea shifted to a movie from an 8-hour, 10-hour show to a 2-hour movie, it has to be cut. It has to be streamlined. And this is not Boba Fett's story. No. So Boba Fett makes a lot of sense to be cut. His stuff to be some of the stuff that was cut and put aside. And that's probably exactly what happened. I don't think Dave and John dislike Tamira, or I don't think they care about the reception as far as like the character goes. I think if it fits the story, he will be there. I just don't think, unfortunately, he probably doesn't fit the story anymore at this point goes. Could he come back for, like, say, the other movie, if the Dave Mandoverse movie eventually? If there's like a portal scene like everybody seems to think there is, which I think we're dangerously starting to get close to assuming that's going to happen. And I really think we shouldn't. I think we should not assume.
We joke about it, but we're like, I think it's kind of like us projecting what we want to see.
Right, exactly. So either way, I don't think this is the last you've seen Tamira as Boba Fett potentially, but I think that it makes sense, and I'm not that upset about it because like I said, just makes sense. He also has not heard anything about Book of Boba Fett season 2. So is it canceled? Okay, I'm sorry.
It's Boba Fett. Everyone loves Boba Fett. Yeah. They're gonna bring Boba Fett. It's almost like Boba Fett is gonna show up at some point. He always does. He always has done. He's the and I hate to describe him like this because I love the character. He's the turd that won't flush.
That's fair. Absolutely fair.
But you can't get rid of him. You could try killing him multiple times. He just will not go.
Fair enough. All right, a couple more news bits before I get into the Ewok movie here, the Battles for Endor. Jude Law had a pretty wonderful little interview he did. I believe it was
all right.
Rotten Tomatoes.
This one I watched. I bet he got into some sticky shit for this.
I'm surprised. Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes TV, and he kind of said a couple different things. I was like, oh, that's interesting. First off, the one quote that I liked the most. So I play a character called Jod. Well, that's one of his names. Wait, what? He is someone they meet and who is there to try and help them back to their home planet. And you never quite know whether he's trustworthy, whether he isn't trustworthy, whether he's one side or another. You never know. But ultimately, he's a part of the crew. Some want him a part of it. Some don't want him a part of it. I can't give too much away. I'm going to say he's full of contradictions. So might have to call him something else besides Jod. Okay. I'm all good with that.
And it also plays into what we talked about last week of like, this dude ain't no Jedi.
Right. Yeah.
He's a swindler. He's a fast talking.
He is Hondo Onaka without the accent.
Whoa. Let's not give him. Now you're putting him on a pedestal.
I mean, he's in that realm of character, though. He is a con man, a fun pirate kind of person. Okay. He's with the Force, with less of an accent, more of the Force, and not quite as cool. I'm not saying about Jude Law. I'm not saying something else. How much I love
Jude Law is amazingly cool, but like,
absolutely,
he's not Hondo.
The other bit was like, he talked about the directors, and he went into like descriptions on all of the directors, which I loved. Like he mentioned all of them, and I want to give all the quotes he said. He goes, first of all, John Watts. John, first of all, was the leader of the pack because it was his show. Generous, fun, really kind of challenging and creating a real sense of jeopardy for the kids. So the kids really knew this was serious stuff. David Lowery is in many ways like Peter Pan himself. I worked with him on Peter Pan and Wendy, and he brings this beautiful energy and magic. The Daniels are funny, are anarchic, kind of left of field, but their episode is really moving. It quite surprised me. Sounds like what the Daniels do. Sounds like if you describe that everything everywhere all at once, that would basically be it. You know, funny, anarchic, kind of left field, but really kind of moving, surprisingly moving in a way. Bryce is just a huge embracing collaborative. Okay. Lee Isaac Chung, who directed Twisters recently, surprised me the most. I think he had me laughing the most, which I wasn't necessarily expecting. And finally, Jake Schreier, I think his is actually one of the best episodes. Really brilliant. Seemed like Jude had blast. Like it seemed like he just had a lot of fun with it, and enjoyed working with everybody. So I think that's a good sign for me as far as I'm concerned. So I like this interview. This was a more open than usual kind of interview, and it's kind of fun. So I think Disney. I hope he doesn't get in trouble for any of this, because this seems like all stuff that's not getting away with anything. He's not like giving away too much, but he's still making it engaging.
No, he probably got a slap on the wrist for it to be like, "Hey, shut up." But yeah, I don't think he would have got in trouble. He would have just got to be careful what you say.
True. But yeah, that makes me happy about the Skeleton Crew, and I do think we're gonna have something fun and special there. So, all right, let's move on. There, a couple of things about Andor. Those are the last two things we got there. Some of this, to a degree, but at the same time, I feel like they're so ebullient about it that it feels like it's not just your usual. I have to promote this kind of thing. You sometimes you can read that and you're like, well, they're going to say it's awesome. They're going to say it's great. But like some of these quotes feel like they truly definitively mean it, and get me excited about it. First off, Diego Luna about K2SO states, you're going to see why K2 is so important in Rogue One, and how does he get to be such an important character of the Rebellion. I think people watching Rogue One after watching season 2 are going to see a different film. Everything will be significantly different, knowing what had to happen for K2 to be there. It's going to make you witness the journey of Rogue One in a different way, I think. And not just with K2, but with many other characters. I think it'll be really cool.
That motherfucker's going to kill B2, isn't he?
I think he is. B2's in K2, so.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe they saw that theory and they're like, that's oddly tragic. Let's go with that.
That could be. Okay.
Whoever put that theory out there, you're dead to me.
Dead to me. I love it. Other person, Adria Arjona, of course, from Bix, is also like really ebullient about it. She said her quote, oh man, when I read season 1, I pinched myself. And when I started reading season 2, I was like, Tony Gilroy can't outdo season 1. So I started reading episode 1, and I was like, again, like, it's not going to be as good, but it's fucking better. It's so much better. It is. What he's crafted and created is mind-blowing, and I can't believe I get to be a part of it. I have Tony Gilroy on speed dial. I don't even think that man gets bothered by anybody else but me. I'm like, hey, Tony, do you think I should do this? Hey, Tony, how are you? And he's like, you're calling me again? I just have so much respect for him. He's so talented, and he really outdid himself for season 2. He's really a good chat, and he's so funny. The way he talks to me, no one believes in me more than Tony Gilroy. He sees things that I don't see. He sees my value as an actor. I'm like, I don't know if I can. He's like, what are you talking about? Yes, you can. And I'm like, okay, yes, I can. He just believes in me so much, and he's really turned into my godfather in this industry. That's beyond just the usual promotional kind of stuff. That's powerful right there.
Yeah. I mean, we know that Tony Gilroy is the man, but
Tony Gilroy we were blessed to get him in the Star Wars universe for a little while, and I kind of hope he eventually makes his way back. I kind of have a feeling he won't. I kind of think because he's not like a Star Wars guy in his heart. I think he's like, I did this, good, I did it, I'm gone, I can go back now.
I also think this took a lot for him and a lot for Diego to do. So I don't think one would come back without the other. That makes sense. I think that Tony Gilroy would come back for something with Diego, and I think Diego would come back with something for Tony. But getting one without the other, I think, would be very difficult.
Yeah.
You have those actors and directors, right? Like combos, like Leo and Martin Scorsese, or De Niro and Martin Scorsese, that just work so well together that, I don't remember the last Leonardo DiCaprio film that I saw that wasn't directed by Scorsese.
Well, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was directed by Tarantino. That's a nice little.
Yeah, you know my feelings on that film.
I know, I love it. It's one of my favorite, actually, Tarantino films. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, the Bruce Lee thing still rubs me the wrong way.
I knew that would be the thing that does. Yeah, and I understand that, but it's a small part of it. Small part. Of it. Get over it, motherfucker. Yeah. But yeah, so that's I really don't I have tried to get away from those kind of just like, oh, let's push the show. But I do like that. I feel like that's a passionate thing, and I think we should celebrate that. And especially on a day like today, it's nice to hear about that kind of stuff happening in Star Wars Galaxy. So
yeah,
we got some good stuff coming, people. We got some good stuff coming, it feels like to me. So all right, let's be done with the news. Let us move on.
Let's talk about
to Ewoks.
Can we put up the thumbnail real quick?
Yeah, let's get this one right out of the way. I mentioned this to Maddie off air before we started recording. This thumbnail we did, or Jacob Patrick, who does my thumbnails for Holy Snokes, as well as 2 Meter Away 2's on film. He put on the Ewoks Battle for Endor poster, one of the posters that's on Disney Plus this way. I've seen this poster before. I believe it might have been on like a DVD or something to that effect. I'm not sure where it came from, but this is the poster. And if you look, if you look at the screen, you're on YouTube now. We have that poster. Obviously, made a Jacinto there in the circle. Above that, we have a little Wicket, Sendel, got Teak, and we have this guy in the middle. And I have no idea who the hell he is. Who is this guy? He is not in this movie. He is not in this movie. Where is Wilford Brimley? He is not on this poster. Like, the only thing I can think of is it kind of like, not the face, but costume-wise, it kind of looks like Sendel's father, who, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched now, I think you probably should go watch the movie before you listen to us do a spoiler review on it, dies in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Definitely doesn't meet Teak.
I'm looking through Reddit right now, and they're saying it's either the older brother, the older Mace that got recast, or it's King Tarek.
Well, Mace didn't even get recast. Mace was the same actor in Mace, but he also dies in the first 5 minutes. I mean, like, I don't see what's going on here. I have no idea what the point is. I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about here, but that's,
To quote a guy that I absolutely despise, who the fuck is that guy?
Absolutely. Okay, the Ewoks, The Battle for Endor was shot in the middle of 1985 in California, directed by Ken and Jim Wheat. George Lucas was the executive producer, and it was written by the Wheat brothers, who directed it based on a story by Lucas, which is kind of how the first one came along. Lucas guided. From Ken Wheat, a quote from Ken Wheat: Lucas guided the creation of the story over the course of 2 4-hour sessions we had with him. He just watched Heidi with his daughter the weekend before this took place. The story idea he pushed was having the little girl from the first Ewok TV movie become an orphan who ends up living with a grumpy and old hermit in the woods. When thinking about the adventure films we'd seen, like we'd liked as kids, like Swiss Family Robinson and The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, so he suggested having Space Marauders, which was fine with George, as long as they were 7 feet tall, of course. The rest of the brainstorming was done along those lines. Joe Johnston, again, the production designer and second unit director, and Phil Tippett, the creature supervisor, were involved in the second day's story session, and they contributed an assortment of bits and pieces.
So I heard this rumor, right? I don't know if it's true. Apparently, the reason that they brought in Jim Johnston to direct was because Wilford Brimley didn't get along with the other two, and that he would only be directed by
Interesting. I did not hear that, so that's an interesting side of that's potentially. I mean, Joe Johnston, actually, obviously, future great director of some wonderful films, but he definitely was getting his getting his feet wet here. Wouldn't be surprised if he directed more than you would think of at that point. But overall, I honestly think I'm going to say it right here. I actually like this one better than the first one.
Fucking A, right? You do. So do I.
I loved this one, and I knew I loved this one. I think I mentioned it when we first done. I haven't watched these movies in a long time, but growing up, I liked this better than I liked Return of the Jedi, or at least parts of Return of the Jedi at that point. When I was young.
Please tell me you brought that up to Mark Ellis.
I did not. Never did. I never would do that to Mark.
He would have killed you.
And I have matured, and I haven't watched it again. I can safely say I do not like it better than Return of the Jedi anymore, but I do enjoy it quite a bit. I can't lie. It was fun.
It's great.
It was a lot of fun, and it had a little more of that Star Warsian feel to it. Maybe it was a little more of the pew pew going on, just a bit more. Definitely a little more like you feel where they're going with Willow. Some of the stuff, like Lucasfilm wise, like it feels like a little bit of Willow in there, especially with the Space Marauders and those kind of things, and like the, shall we say, the very vague power and things going on. Don't give me the power from the ship, like. Interesting, nonetheless. But what a great movie! Let's go through our segments. Hope you learned how we did them this week because I kind of sprung it on your last.
Yep. I got it. Don't worry.
You're ready this week. Okay, good. Let's do it. Let's do it then. Hondo Watch 2024. Yeah, he's not in this one either.
For fuck's sake.
He's not in this one either. Oh, he would have been great in here. Imagine if Sindel and Wicket came into Hondo was living in that cave.
Oh my god! Do you know what? Warwick Davis once spoke about a third movie being made.
Oh yeah, right?
A third Ewok movie was in the works at one point.
Yeah, they had talked about it.
That should be it.
They could do it now. They absolutely could do it now.
Could do it now.
Obviously, you'd have to recast. Well, Sindel doesn't actually necessarily be there. She obviously, spoiler, she flew up happily with
bring her back, like Olaf Sindel returns to Endor.
And you mean Wicket and Wicket's kid kind of thing? It could do that. That's true.
And they bump into Hondo.
Yeah. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. Either way. All right, let's get into it then. The character of the week for this one. Who is your favorite character of this movie?
Dude, it's Wicket.
It's Wicket.
Same as the last one. It's Wicket.
Fair. Okay.
Enough said. I same reasons as before. Wicket's the man.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
You're going Teak, aren't you?
I had to go back to two things. I was struck between two. There's a part of me that understands that in my heart of hearts, I am Noah. I am a grumpy old man. I am a grumpy old man who I was in the same way. Why are you bothering me? Get out of here. For the same guy, I would play like, all right, you could stay for the night. Just for the night, though. Just for the night. That's me. That's me. I am not. So I almost couldn't. I almost wanted to pick that.
I needed that. I needed that. Thank you. I needed that laugh. Yeah, go ahead.
A guy loves his soup. Guy loves his muffins. He's good. Yeah, I get it. I understand. But at the end of the day, I still I have a soft spot. I've always had a soft spot for him. Give me Teak. I love Teak. Little Teak. Flashy, speedy, mischievous, heart of gold Teak. I loved his powers. I loved his not his powers, but his speed. I loved the fact that he was like joking around with them all the time, but he was so innocent. And yeah, Teak was Teak's the man. I want to see Teak again. Give me Teak growing up.
Yeah.
All right, you got a favorite line of the week? Line of dialogue. Favorite line of dialogue.
I just want to know, how did the Ewoks learn to speak basic so quickly?
That is a great question. That is a great question.
Like, did George turn around and say, you know what, maybe it's best that we have them speak English this time?
I think so.
My favorite quote is whenever Wicket announces he's going to do something. Like when they're in the ship at this, when they're in like the little trailer bed at the start, they're trying to escape because Wicket fit.
Wicket fit?
Oh, Wicket swim. It's like he always has to announce. Like he always has to announce what he's gonna do before he does it.
That's fair. The English does provide a continuity issue if we wanted to set it back. Like they tried to retroactively make it before Return of the Jedi, but then did they just stop speaking English right after that? Before the Red Show? I don't know.
They probably had like some kind of vow. They were like, don't let them know that we speak basic. Like,
maybe that's what it is.
Guys, play down. It's like, did you ever see the film Waiting with Ryan Reynolds?
Yes.
It's like the scene where they have the German people at the table that pretend they don't know English so they don't have to tip.
Right.
It's essentially the Ewoks were probably like, I don't know English.
We need a scene shot for the Return of the Jedi special edition. See what we could say that. No speak English. No speak basic. My favorite line is actually a repeated line from the first movie.
Go on.
It seems like it is I'm going to start using this to anybody who I don't like nowadays. It's Wicket when he talks to Noah. It just calls him Zerdo. I don't know what it means, but it sounds like bad. Basically, it feels like it's Ewokian for asshole.
Yeah, or something worse. Because you don't, when you call someone an asshole, you don't really do it with as much like venom.
Possibly.
As Wicket did.
No. I love it. They did it last time. They did it this time. I'm glad that. So there is obviously an Ewok language written down somewhere. I don't have it. Maybe someone else nerdier than me has it, but that is definitely a line that's repeated a couple of times. So
I know there's a bunch of Wikipedia. There's a load of sentences in Jawa.
Oh yeah,
in Jawese, which is the Jawas are actually real people, and I think the Philippines, like Indonesia, around that area. I think like Jawa is an actual language.
Right. I think they did that. So I think they definitely based it off of that. I mean, they were huge on doing that back in the day.
Maybe the Ewoks are real.
Maybe. You know what? Just for shits and giggles, I just looked up Lurdo on Wikipedia. It says there's actually a guy named Lurdo in the Ewoks cartoon or something like that. Looks like I acquired a bit of a Ewokian vocabulary, including the name Lurdo. I suspect it means one who is infinitely wise and respected because that's what they called me. Where is this from? I got to see what this is from. So obviously the word was used more. Let's see. It was in a comic book, Star Wars Tales. I got to read that now for sure. I'll get there eventually, my thing. But yeah, suppose they called him Weirdo. Funny. All right, let's move on. Next up, we have, let's see, we've got your line dialogue. So we are going to go with put that in your holocron and Snokes or explore more lore. What do you want to explore more lore with this time, my friend?
Is Cheryl a Night Sister?
That is one of the ones I wrote too, partially. I'm glad you went back because I wrote too. But yeah, I think she's definitely, at least, she inspired the Night Sisters. I bet you anything she at least inspired the Night Sisters. Which is funny that this like children's fantasy adventure inspired something so, dark and everything else. But hey, George did write witches first before Dathomirians.
He did, but let's not play into how influential this movie is because we also see the glurps in this.
The Blurgs are in there. Yep, absolutely.
Not glurps. Blurgs.
Blurgs. Yep.
Not glurps.
It is influential. I knew what you were saying. I didn't know all that. Influential as heck. Absolutely. So the witch, I'd like to see more about her too. Was she in universe? Is she a Night Sister that somehow made her way here? We don't know how. I don't know. How did she get here? Who is she? She's like human-ish compared to like these guys. Who knows? No. If you're going to choose that, though, I'm going to look a little deep dive into Teak. Who is he? Where did he come from? What is? Does he have a race? Is like he the only Teak? Is Teak his name? Is Teak his race? Does he live on Endor? Are there more Teaks out there?
Is Teak a Bothan?
Is Teak a Bothan? Who knows? Many Bothans. Who is Teak and where did he come from? I want to see more.
Many Bothans died. Maybe he's the only Bothan left.
Yeah, maybe that's his real name. Manny Bothans is his name. He's the only Teak left. Where does Teak come from? Where did he go?
Where did he come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
Exactly. Thank you for picking.
Hold on, wait. There's Teak. There's Tika.
I wonder. Is Teak some kind of mutant Ewok? Is Teak the X-Men of the Ewoks?
Or
he has superpowers.
Jawas are known to be kind of rodent-y underneath their robes.
Is he a Jawa without the robot?
Is Teak a Jawa that got butt naked and run through Endor?
I'm going to stick with my X-Men theory. Teak is a mutant Ewok. That's why he looks a little different, and he has superpowers. So he is the superhero of. If the Ewoks had a Marvel universe, Teak is their main superhero.
Which one is he? Is he Cyclops, Wolverine?
It got to be Quicksilver, right?
Yeah. He's Ralph Boner.
Oh. All right, let's move on then. Seen a lot of action, favorite action bits. I'm going to go this one. As much fun as I had with this film, something that stuck with me as a kid, and we'll talk about it more, I want to go with Mace's Last Stand. Mace's Last Stand, when he starts blasting the hell out of the guy. He drags the dying mom, into the hut and like tries to like protect her. Ends up dying anyway with a big explosion.
Go with Noah and what's his name?
I thought about it.
Going out with what's his name with his stick?
I thought about it. I thought about it. That was another one I thought of, honestly. But no, I had to go with Mace's Last Stand. I got to give respect to Mace this film. I know he got a little. We gave him a little shit last time, but in this film, he did the right thing. He did what he tried to do, and like, good for him. What about you? What's your favorite action?
Mine could easily come into comedy. It's the one shot. Watching it back, I was dying laughing. And I'm playing it in my head again. It makes you just want to, like, God, I fucking needed this. When the Ewoks are fighting the Marauders and Wicket almost bites the bullet, there's the one Ewok that jumps into the catapult and shoots himself off, and he does like half a dozen flips before he lands on the guy.
I'm gonna throw this one out there now. I was gonna say it for the notes, but this is actually one that made me laugh too. Made me laugh, like the bit about where Wicket gets caught up in the trap, right? And the Ewok has a blaster. Starts blasting one, blasts the second one, goes to blast the third one.
And I just started blasting.
And the gun jams or something. I could have sworn to you. I rewound it a couple of times. I swear that Ewok said shit. I think he actually said shit.
I think he did.
He goes, shit. Shit.
I'm gonna clip this out, and I'm gonna put that in the short. Let's just see if he really did.
You really should. You should say that's what I heard, and I don't know if I heard it wrong or not. I agree. If I did hear it wrong, I'm going with that's what he said.
I agree. I thought I heard it too.
Okay, good. Speaking of laughing on fuzzball moments, that's one of them. I actually had a couple more. So go ahead. I just gave a laughing moment. Why don't you give me a laughing moment?
I'll give you another one. Teak getting the one up on the guards by putting the card up his sleeve. So then the guards have to kill each other.
This movie is so funny,
good.
so kiddie. But I mean, it's obviously kiddie, and it's a kiddie way. But it's it's my childhood kind of fun movies, and yeah, there's nothing adult about it. But yeah, it's funny as hell that way for exactly that kind of reason. So ridiculous.
Everything from like right at the start, where Wicket uses his slingshot to shoot that berry up in the air and catch it in his mouth.
Everything. I had a couple more. I can throw you 3 more things that I thought were hilarious.
Please do.
So the Ewoks get captured. Someone gets captured in that little wagon.
Mm-hmm.
They start trying to pry open the thing. Also, they break the board off, and all of a sudden, I'll go. Like, oh,
and they're like, Ewok too big.
Wicked fit. Then there's a sequence where Teak brings Sindel and Wicket home to Noah's, and then Noah shows up all mad. And he starts looking at, like, Noah starts like yelling, "What the hell's going on?" Teak looks at Noah for a second and looks over and goes, "Grr." Like he's trying to like pretend like he had no idea who they were.
Oh shit! This film is just too funny.
It is. I love this film. I can watch this every day. I think this is great. Oh man. And the third one I really liked, which was more subtle. So Noah breaks them free from prison. They go out the window and slide down the rope or whatever. And then the other guards start going after them, and they shoot the rope down. The guards are like, they're helpless trying to, because they had that water monster there, whatever. And then Turok or whatever, it's Turok, right? His name is
Tarak, I think. Yeah. It reminded me of the old video game Turok, but with
yes.
Yeah.
The Turok comes into the thing, into the room. He's looking around, walks up, and there's a line. Slices the line up, and you hear in the background, "Oh!"
Yes. I think that was the Willem scream before the Willem scream.
Oh, it's so good. That was so good. Yeah. Those are funny moments. It's a very funny movie. It's what I mean about Willow and things of that ilk. It kind of felt like there's a lot of humor in that, a lot of humor in these. These guys were good performers, having fun time. And I realize now why I loved it as a kid. And I realize why I loved it even better than the first one. Just this one hit me even further. It's like a much more simplistic. It's not simplistic story, because I guess the first one's actually more simplistic. Monsters get your adults and you have to go save them.
But it's more like very much a fairy tale, right? It's like the kid gets captured, put in a castle with the evil witch, and then the unlikely team of heroes has to go save him.
Right, and there's the magic power. There's more magic powers and stuff going on there. It's very cool. I don't know. So, all right, before we do, I have a lot of other notes we can talk about, but let's get this first out of the way. The parsecs on a scale of 1 to 11. Maddie, hit me up with it.
10. It's a 10. It's a 10.
It
needs no explanation. Yeah,
I agree with you. 10 out of 11. Absolutely. Give it to me every time. You agree at 10, 11. I'm not sure how much I'd put it over some of the actual theatrical Star Wars films, but pure enjoyment wise, is it cheesy? Yes. Is it kiddie? Yes. Is it like a TV movie? Yes. But honestly, it's successful at what it sets out to do something, and it achieves it completely. It's fun. I think children loved it. And I think I'm actually surprised there wasn't the third one, because this deserved a third one. I feels like it was everything you needed to make it happen. So I am very glad I got to watch this again. Thank you guys for putting this out there for us to watch again, because I probably would have waited another couple of years. I'm trying to get through everything on Disney Plus anyway, but I have other projects I'm doing too. So forcing me to sit down and watch these, twist my arm a little bit, and I'm very, very, very happy. I had a couple more notes that I didn't get to with all of our different segments here I'll throw out there. I love the fact that this reminds me, one of the reasons I like it so much is that for a quote unquote kiddie movie back in the 80s, kiddie movies weren't afraid to be dark, to go scary a little bit. And like this was like G or P, maybe P, I don't know, PG in the theaters, if it would have been about a P, if it would have been PG or something. But we open up with an attack on the village, and we have Sindel, our main character from the last film. Her entire family dies in the first 5 minutes. Yeah.
And one of those pirates gets stuck with a spear, like it was almost like the bit in Predator where it's like stick around.
Yeah, stick around. That's right. I mean, she gets. I mean, like we see, like I said, Mace's last stand, which is very dramatic considering the film is in. We get to
Almost
see
Apocalypse Now.
Absolutely. We get to see Paul Gleason, by the way, as a recast. You had the guy breaking skulls from Breakfast Club. He is actually in this movie for 5 minutes as the dad. I'm not sure why the dad didn't come back from the first one. I don't know. I have no story about that. But I love it. I saw him. Like, that's fucking Paul Gleason. But he's in there. He gets killed and dies in a heroic way. Like he sees Sindel, he blasts him, tries to run off with her, and he's like, go. And have that sad moment with him. The I'll always be with you kind of moment. Get that inspirational moment that Sindel's going to now grow up and be Batgirl because that's she got her whole family dead. But I love seeing Paul Gleason. I love seeing Paul Gleason out there, and it was wonderful to have me in for a second. But
we got Paul Gleason. We got Warwick Davis. Like this, just the actors that like on to do this. They probably had no fucking clue what it was. They just said, "Oh, it's a Star Wars thing. George Lucas is attached to it.
Absolutely,
this will be good for my career." And then it had one theatrical run in Germany.
This wouldn't even have one. I mean, look, Karen and Courage.
Yeah, it had a theatrical. It had a limited theatrical run in Germany, and that's it. Other than that, it went straight to video.
Straight to ABC TV. That's where it was. ABC TV first, but all right. Let's see what else I got here. Oh, so I forgot something, and I almost want to go back and rewatch Karen and Courage now. But watching this and the other one, I guess setting this back before Return of the Jedi, like they tried to retroactively do, makes sense because is the attack on the village the reason why Return of the Jedi they're all up in the tree houses?
Huh.
Because they're all actually down on the ground for this. I kind of forgot about that.
I never thought of that.
By the time we get to in Bright Moon Village, all their trees are up. They're up on top, and they're swinging back and forth on the vines and stuff. So
yeah, they're like right up the top. They're like, yeah, you'll never get this. You'll never get this. Like you're not gonna reach us up it. Dude, I never thought of that until now.
So the Marauders attacked them, inspired them to, well, we're going to rebuild. We're going to rebuild up there. Get away from everybody.
They're just like, we're sick of this shit. We're going where you can't reach. And people got to stop messing with the Ewoks, man. Because it doesn't end well for you.
It never does. I wonder if this was was this the first time the Marauders have been there? They have this freaking big castle. They had never seen each other before. It seems like kind of like they must have had battles before, potentially. I don't know.
They had to have crossed paths or something in maybe in somewhere, but I'm just thinking Wolf of Brimley. Where was the mom? Where was the mom?
Yeah, she died. Right, Mace had her, and then she dragged her body back, so she was basically a dead body.
That's right.
So she didn't have anything to do with it. I don't think. Does she even deserve a cast? Is she in the cast?
I don't think she is because I didn't see her, and it just adds to my theory of.
She was there on screen. The body was there on screen. The Ewoks did not eat her.
They didn't eat her then.
They might eat her after she blew up in the hut. Maybe then they ate her afterwards.
Yeah, but she was already cooked.
Yeah, already cooked.
The one thing that I did love, one that I did have on this was something when I was looking up doing research about this film, is the fact that ILM had to create new eyelids for the Ewoks when they were asleep because the original costumes, the original masks for the Ewoks didn't have eyelids on them.
Right, I remember that.
that just adds to the kind of fucking creepiness of Ewoks that they didn't have eyelids, so they'd just be staring at you like. But yeah, we see the Blurgs in this film. We see
another fun sequence. Another fun sequence we had. Wicket MacGyvering the glider out of like nothing.
Dude, that was so cool. The fact that like at the very start of the first film, he's like looking at that glider and he's thinking, one day, one day. And then he gets his shot.
I'm sorry. It's so like, okay. I'm having fun with this, obviously. But Wicket takes a couple of bones, a couple of like sticks, and all of a sudden you look at the glider that's made, and it's like, you didn't have all that stuff. There's no way all that material was there.
No, it's literally just like, how did okay, you
had
really
that do cloth to whatever the top part there.
Yeah, you really do have to suspend your belief. Suspend disbelief in this, and it's nah, dude. I don't care. This is like this is the perfect counterbalance. Like, I'm so glad that we did this week.
Yeah,
like this is the perfect counterbalance. This is
absolutely.
Should we do a Force vision for the?
No, I actually got some more. I still got some more things I got to say.
Holy shit! Hit me.
I got so we haven't even talked about Wilford Brimley at all, hardly. Noah was a badass in this movie. I did say, I mentioned before, he is my spirit animal, and I totally will stick to that. He is me in like 20 years, probably, maybe less, maybe 10. I don't know. He's probably younger here than even that. I love this character from the get-go. I think he was the perfect kind of character to have in this film. You needed that kind of like grumpy, semi like antagonist at first, maybe a little bit, but then like, at the end, he's like turned around. He like loves this kid and loves this area and everything else. And the fact that he gets the power to his cell back, what a well done thing. Like, he talks about it like they don't have a power cell. They can't really, his ship couldn't go anywhere. And they happen to come across what they're looking for. It's the same thing. It's like, oh, sweet. And love the fact that Noah doesn't take shit. Soon as like Wick is like, Sindel gone. All right, let's go. Boom. We have like an 80s commando style montage of him like, boom. This old man was like, this is, I got like life vest on pretty much. Like click, 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 click. Click, click, click.
Doug's wearing a life preserver.
Put my rope in the bag. I guess he finally has a blaster now. It's seriously like Wilford Brimley doing Arnold Schwarzenegger was like absolutely brilliant for me.
I almost expected to hear the did.
So good. What else we got here? The story of Salak, and then we get to see Salak's bones like that. Again, stuff that you don't see as much in today's world. We would have just heard about it maybe or something like that. Would have been intimated. The water monster, what a great use of budget. It's like Jaws. All you need to do is have bubbling water. You're like, oh, freaking! You don't really see the creature. It's like, oh, but I felt scared of that monster when I was a kid. I was like, oh, get your feet out of the water. Oh my god!
I was terrified with the winged creature at the start because it reminded me of something from Sinbad, and even just like the almost like stop motion that they used with it.
Yeah,
I was like, oh no.
The Blur is a good stop motion too. That's some great stop motion. Phil Tippett's phenomenal, obviously.
The best. The best.
Yeah, I think that's all I had there. The final battle was a fun storming the castle, and then the final big battle afterwards, where they finally get the power of the ship working. Although I gotta think it's funny. It's like, it reminded me completely of when Harrison Ford said they didn't teach me how to fly, so I was just flipping buttons in the Falcon. Exactly what Noah was doing. Noah's like over me looking at the ship, going, "All right, I got to turn the power on." Flip. He's like, just flipping a button. So that's right. Hit the red button, Sindel. No, the other one. Okay. Yeah, that one moment is kind of like, the best part though is like saying like, oscillator on. He's like making up words. Power on.
Oscillator on.
Oscillating.
It's literally just this whole film is just like a whole wondrous, imaginative, just fucking try it, and if it works, hell, if it does, even if it doesn't work, if it's cool enough, we'll put it in the movie.
it's heartwarming. It really is. But then going back to horror, the ending there where it's kind of funny. It's like a kind of a little bit out of nowhere, but Wicked's obviously it's a slingshot and breaks the necklace or the ring that he was wearing as a necklace was the witch's ring or whatever. And it breaks, and I don't know why that breaking makes him turn to stone, but great effect for a TV movie at the time and everything else. It was kind of horrifying at the end. He gets to become that statue or whatever, that broken down statue. Good stuff there. I love that ending of that. Absolutely powerful stuff.
Yeah. Just make the third one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just make the third one. If you're not going to give us a second Acolyte season, at least make the fucking 30-one movie.
That's pretty funny. That'd be great. Well, not great. The Acolyte got canceled, but I think that would still be great either way. A great Disney Plus original would be fun. So, yeah. All right. You want to do Force Vision? Go ahead. Let's do your Force Vision.
Force Vision for the Ewok movies. You know what? I think there's going to be a battle on that planet coming up, a really big one, and I think the Ewoks are going to have to get involved, and I think they're gonna like find a golden kind of god to worship, and I think that they're really going to help some people out.
Yeah, I think that I think it's a great idea. I think I'll add to that. They will make their place known in the galaxy, and then even years later, when another group of people tries to attack the universe again, and then the resistance fights back, they'll be on the planet still, but they'll celebrate the fall of evil again with their next generation of Ewoks. That's my Force Vision as well. They're going to stick around for the long haul.
We talk about the portal scene, right? Yeah. Imagine the Ewoks and the Naughty coming together.
A CGI Wilford Brimley comes through.
Oh my god. Somehow Mace returns.
Imagine that they put out there, Mace is coming back. We're like, yeah, it comes out. It's just... That is a trolling I would live for.
I would love that. Oh my god, that would be perfect.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. I think that does it for us today. I'm glad. I really am glad we did this. It was a great great way to end the show after a little tumultuous beginning there. Matty, where can the folks find you?
You can find me at Matty Morner. You can find my band Morner at Morner Band on all social media. You can find us on all streaming platforms. Shooting music video tomorrow for a brand new song that's coming. What the fuck is it? September. Because we had to push back a couple of weeks because we were going to put out on an ill fortune date. September 25th. You guys will hear some brand new Morner. It was originally going to come out on September 11th, but then I thought, wait, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, so leave that alone. Let's leave that one alone.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Wonderful. So, all right, you can find me at Paul _Doozy on Twitter. You can find me all over the place here. Like you said, you were supposed to see the one-offs with Mark Ellis today. You will see that instead tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern when we're usually recording this show, but not this week. Review comes back. He has already come back. We'll be back on that next week. Too Many Darker White Dudes on John Wick 2 will be out next week as well. And The Crown Jewels is happening every week. So check out. I've recorded so many in a row. I don't know what I'm actually on this week. So I can't tell you, but it's on there every week. So go for it. Great Queen podcast I do. A lot of podcasts I do. Way too many podcasts I do, but I love it so much. But if you are here and it's your first time here, to like, subscribe. Patreon.com/PLD Projects with, got Austin Cadell, Brandon Buckingham, great career people there. If you can't, I get it. I understand. But just, try to build this community out, share, like, all that kind of stuff. Leave comments, help us out, fight the almighty algorithm. And we'll be back next week. Next week, I think we're going to do the prequel alternate cast we decided.
I forgot that we were going to do that.
We had that in mind. The prequel trilogy. We're going to do the alternate cast. We had so much fun doing the original trilogy. We're going to do the prequel trilogy next week, and we'll have to come up with some ground rules maybe for that too. We'll see. Other than that, guys, I love you guys out there. I love Star Wars. I love everybody. I just wish, hopefully, eventually I have this vision and hope that eventually we'll all come together and have love, peace, and a galaxy far, far away. And I'm always going to stick to it because that's my dream, and I'm here for it. So, as always, Until next time.
May the Force be with you. Always.